would like to say that was a typical first game, but I don't know if I've ever had or seen 3 fumbles in 4 plays. That's, I think, what we had. I know we had 3 straight fumbles. So we obviously didn't play well at all in the first half. Had West Virginia beating West Virginia. There were some things we did okay, but, we weren't obviously playing like we should have. In the second half, it went like it should have with that. So we'll take the win, learn from it. Obviously, there's a lot of things to clean up and fix, but there's a lot of guys playing for the first time, and there's a lot of things we got to do as a staff to be better in the next week. But we'll take the win and grow from it and see what happens next.
Start with your emotions. Obviously, you've talked about it. You've been a head coach 29 years, 28, whatever now, but does this feel different for you?
Yeah, I did a little bit. Of course, I think coming back, Greg, and then the man trip, we didn't do a man trip when I was here, and that was pretty neat. I mean, the crowd was, I'm talking about unbelievable. Great crowd, dressed in gold, into the game. Unfortunately, we didn't give them enough good moments in the first half, but I thought the West Virginia fans showed up today now, I'm just telling you. And they showed up on the man trip. They showed up in the tailgating. They showed up during the game, and really, really appreciative of that.
After kickoff, at that point, do you just settle in and it's a game at that point?
Yeah, I think even before, even before you're tossed, just like you're focused on, are we going on offense or defense first? And felt good about, we didn't, do a lot of stuff, particularly after you got a little bit of lead in the second half. We were, being kind of generic and basic. But, the execution part, the fumble part is, I'd probably go back and say, should I have had more live practices where they got tackled with the helmets on the ball? And, and that, you go back and think, gosh, we probably should have had a couple more. So that's a lesson learned with that one.
Coach, fans got to see what Cam Vaughn's capable of at times today. What can make him special, and just what you see in his performance?
Yeah, Cam, they made Cam frustrated every once in a while, 1 or 2 things. He dropped the ball, but he's obviously he's a great athlete. And he's a great competitor. Cam really loves to compete. He always feels he can get open and get by somebody. And I'm glad we took a deep shot. We weren't throwing deep balls today much, and it was good. He ran a great route. Nico made a great throw. So Cam's one of the most explosive guys I think in the country, and I'm glad he got some plays today.
Coach, how would you evaluate Nico's performance, and then what went into him being the starter? Because you had announced that before kickoff.
Yeah, I think Nico had shown it during practice. He was consistent, understood, had got a feel for the game. And he's a gritty player. All the quarterbacks run pretty good, and they're all willing runners. But Nico's a competitive guy. He'll do what he's got to do to win the game. And I think, again, all those guys, it was their first time playing in this system. So our expectation is that they'll continue to grow and get better.
Would you like from your defense 2 yards per play, 120?
Yeah, I think we gave them 2 third down and 10s, I think, which was uncharacteristic for us. But they didn't they couldn't run the ball, and our front did a good job of getting the guy on the ground. I thought we tackled pretty well, and they're not a high explosive team, but at the same time, I felt the whole time during the game that the defense was going to be okay. Ours, probably about what I expected. I think the difficult part is we never had a chance for the tempo to make an impact because we turned the ball over so much. If you're getting them on a line drive and tempo, and then there's a 3 and out, and they got to come back out. So we didn't get enough 3 and outs early, and we obviously had the 3 turnovers, which allowed them to have a lot of time to rest. So that was the multitude of reasons why we couldn't get the tempo the way we wanted to today.
You mentioned the quarterbacks. How do you assess the others that played, including Scotty Fox, who broke off for a big
Yeah, touchdown? I think we should. If we had played better and coached better, these guys would have got in the game earlier, and we could have made a better assessment, But, I thought when Jalen came in, he ran really well, and he's got a nice burst. He did some good stuff. And then, the 2 young guys, Scotty and Khalil, are really, really talented guys that have shown some stuff. And this is a long season. And I'm not, if I got 4 quarterbacks ready, you guys, I did it today because we had to lead, and all that in the fourth quarter. But we got to get those young guys ready to play, and it's good to get Jalen some reps. He's an experienced guy, so I think all those guys will get better as the season goes on.
Coach, what was the message like at halftime today, and how do you address turnovers?
Yeah, I didn't try to, scrape paint off the wall or anything like that. I was, we just said, listen, we got to take care of the football. We got to play a little bit smarter. The penalties are really frustrating. I'm as frustrated or more frustrated with that because that's a lack of discipline. We're going to get that fixed right away. We have to. So, we had to correct the penalties, obviously had to correct the turnovers, and just relax and run the offense.
Coach, your first year back, and then obviously 1,000 new players. Obviously, you wanted a better execution, but are you proud of how they did play in week 1?
Well, I'm proud that there's no panic at halftime for anybody. The coaches, wasn't happy, and the coaches, we always have some heated discussions, but on offense, but nobody panicked. The players didn't panic. They weren't, looking around with, big-eyed and like, what do we do now? I think there was none of that whatsoever, which we're going to need that because we're going to face adversity, with a whole lot, obviously, bigger teams going forward.
Coach, what about your emotions of the hard-edgedness and the effort and whether or not
I think we played pretty hard, but I've got to watch the film. I don't know. We were physical, I think, at times, but let me watch the film and then see how up front on offensive line, if we were as physical or as strong as we need to be. I'll wait and watch the film before I judge that.
Coach, talk a little bit about your emotions at the end of the game, just with the country roads and all
Yeah,
that.
I mean, the greatest tradition in college sports, singing country roads after a win. A lot of the crowd was still here, the student section. I mean, wasn't the weather nice? I mean, holy cow, it was a beautiful day. I said, I don't know what the attendance was, but it looked pretty packed. I know there was one little section maybe where the students were at that wasn't completely full, but I said, I know our players really appreciate that. I mean, they do, because I tell them this West Virginia football is really important to a lot of people, And when they get a crowd like this today and into it like they were today, it kind of backs those words up.
Rich, it looked like several times you came.
No. Had we played better in the first 2 quarters, we'd have played more people. So that was disappointing that we didn't play as many guys as I'd like to play today.
Rich, it looked like offensively you doubled up on a lot of plays. Came right back to one that it either worked or you felt like it was open or whatever. Is that something that you had an idea that you can do? Is that kind of part
Well, a lot of that's tempo oriented. We like to play at obviously when you run the same play over and over again, it's you can run it at a faster tempo. And I think again, I'll have to watch the film. Our tempo was okay today, and then we slowed it down, toward the end of the game a little bit. But I'd like to say, watch the film. Probably it's not going to be a whole lot of fun, especially in the first half. But we got to watch it and correct it.
Coach, for the majority of the game, your rush yards, pass yards were pretty balanced. And rushing kind of took over late. Is that a factor of what Nico kind of brings?
Yeah, I think whatever your quarterback's strengths are is what you're going to feature. And we're still, you think you have an idea, right, of each one of them, but we only played one game. So as the season goes along with the quarterbacks, we'll have even better idea what they do well, what they can execute in the offense, and then we'll take it from there.
And then positives from Jaheim today, what did you see?
Jaheim ran hard. I'm a little disappointed we didn't get him loose for some longer runs. And I'm going to have to see what the reason was. It might have been getting outnumbered. I don't know what the case was, but he's an explosive guy, and we didn't get him enough explosive opportunities, I didn't think, today. So I got to figure out what happened with that.
Rich, how do you go about attacking fumbles in practices?
Well, yeah, you could go live, and I think at least two of them were hats. They put their helmet right on the ball, but that's going to happen. We just got to lower our shoulder a little bit and protect it some. But no, it's going to be a huge point of emphasis, certainly, because we do that in any other game we play this year. You might not be able to recover. you know, in this game you could, but in the rest of them you're not going to be able to.
Is it as simple as just hitting guys in practice when they're?
Yeah, I think, you know, the difference is when you hit in practice, they know it's coming. It's easy for them to, you know, hold it like this. They don't run like that. It's not natural. So a lot of it is, I'll have to watch the film. I'm going to see how they're carrying it. Are they carrying it with their elbow out? Is it loose while they're running? You know, all those factors are going to be studied with the tape.
Coach, you were saying earlier about Cam, about how he can be one of the more explosive guys in the country. I mean, you obviously coached him at Jacksonville State, so you know about him. What makes you say that about him, that at this level he can still be one of the most explosive?
Well, we thought when we signed him, he was a Power 4 talent. He was a quarterback in high school, so how a lot of people couldn't project him as another position. We told him we'd give him a shot at quarterback, and that lasted about an hour. So said, hey, listen, you can learn the offense while you're playing wide out. And so once he got over there, so he's still learning the position, you know. But he's like I said, he's a competitive guy. It's important to him, and he wasn't perfect today. But him and Jaden, I thought Jaden made some nice catches today, and there's a lot more that those guys can do.
At some point, either before the game or during the game, did you take a moment to soak the moment in, look around the stadium?
Not during the game at all. I'm thinking before the game, like I said, maybe walking into the stadium a little bit, but maybe not as much as I thought. But like I said, I've said that a lot, but I probably even more so today need to say how appreciative I am of the opportunity to be back, for our administration, for Ren Baker, for the university to give us another opportunity to come back and build the best program in America. We got a long way to go before we do that, but that's our mission. That's what we're going to do, and work hard every day to do that. So I'm blessed to be back.
Was there a sense of relief walking off the field, all the build-up since you got hired here to, you know, kicking the ball off? What was that feeling like?
Probably was more of a relief to just get into a game. You know what I mean? Because it was like, you're always a little nervous. If you're not nervous for any game, there's something wrong, because you should be nervous, right? That means it's important to you. But I think there was probably a little bit more nerves because it's the first game with so many new faces, new staff, new players, and you don't really know for sure what's going on. And you want to do well. The part about here, you love coaching it because you're from here and it's personal to you, but that also makes it very personal to you. You don't want to disappoint everybody. I remember when I was here the first time, it's like every time we didn't play well, it's like we let down the whole state and let down every friend of mine and every relative of mine. And, it's like that's not, I feel like that a little bit of some of my other jobs, but not nearly like I feel at this job, because this is home. So, when we don't play well, we don't represent as well as we can on the field, it is a lot more personal to me, and I don't know if that'll ever change.
Coach, what's your biggest point of emphasis as you guys get ready for this Ohio game?
Yeah, we've got the self-inflicted mistakes we made today, we got to fix like in a day, fixed by tomorrow. And then we're going to play a really good Ohio team on the road. It's going to be a very uncomfortable situation. We just got to get better. But I don't think anybody got hurt. I think, a lot of guys got experience for the first time in our systems, which is a good thing. They needed this to get experience. And then we get better from it.
Ohio.
Yeah, Max had tweaked his hamstring a little bit, so he didn't dress today.
Ohio started their season off almost pulling off the upset against a Power 5 team on the road. What do you have to do heading into that game to make sure?
Yeah, I watched that a lot of that game. They very easily could have won it on the road against a pretty good Rutgers team. So that'll get our guys' attention. We got to work on us first the next 24 hours and fix what we got to fix, and then we'll be into Ohio, tomorrow night.
Thank you very much, Coach. Thank you.